3 days after the fall that shook the skating world, Ilia broke the silence. He didn't offer an apology. He didn't make an excuse. He made a statement. The quad god is done keeping his mouth shut, and his words are about to rewrite the history of that Olympic meltdown. On Monday, February 16, 2026, Ilia hit send on Instagram. The clip opens with a highlight reel, gold medals, perfect landings, living the dream on the ice. Then smash cut to black. Just a photo of him burying his face in his hands. Glory on one side, heartbreak on the other. The caption hits like a truck. On the world's biggest stage, the ones who look the toughest are often fighting battles you can't even see. He didn't stop there. He wrote, "Vile online hatred attacks the mind and fear drags it into the darkness. You try to hold it together against that mountain of pressure, but it piles up until your life flashes before your eyes, ending in an inevitable crash." That is the narrative now. But listen closely, the signs were there. This post wasn't the first red flag. Way before the game's eagle-eyed fans saw him reposting TikToks about mental health struggles, the crushing weight of the internet, and that nagging feeling of never being good enough. Even right after the Friday night disaster, he shared a fleeting emotional clip about falling short. This shadow didn't just appear on the ice in Milan. It was stalking him long before he ever took that starting pose. But here is the twist. This new statement flips the script from what he said in the heat of the moment. Fresh off the ice, he owned it. He said, "I blew it." He put it all on his own shoulders. 3 days later, he's pointing the finger at a monster much bigger than himself. The toxicity, the pressure, the crash that had to happen. That's not an excuse. That's a diagnosis. And there is a massive canyon between those two things. The crazy part. He tried to warn us. Back in 2025, he told Olympics.com exactly what was going down. We slept on it, and now the reality is staring us in the face. So what was really eating at him? How deep did the rot go? TikTok gives us a glimpse into the nightmare. Endless comments ripping him apart for missing the quad axle, calling him a fraud, saying he choked when the lights got bright. That is the baggage these elite athletes carry into every single routine, behind every curtain call. Faceless trolls screaming they aren't fast enough, strong enough, or good enough. For Ilia, that target on his back was the size of a billboard. He was the chosen one of his generation. And yet, every event got boiled down to a single question. Is he going to hit the quad axle? Every score was dissected, every slip-up magnified, every practice session put under a microscope. And fueling the fire were the comments, thousands of them never stopping, never letting up. We know from the post-game presser what was going through his mind seconds before the music started. He talked about old traumas rushing back. He said his legs turned to cement and his lungs just wouldn't open up. He felt like a passenger in his own body. Now the picture is clear. That online venom wasn't separate from the trauma, it was the trigger. It had been snowballing for years, mixing with Olympic stakes to build that insurmountable wall he talked about. Look at that Monday post again. The thrill of victory on the left, the agony of defeat on the right. That split screen isn't about one-off night in Milan. It's the toll of being treated like a stunt robot built for the amusement of people who haven't walked a mile in his skates. But the key to the whole thing is 3 words: inevitable crash. Not a fluke, not a surprise, inevitable. He's telling us that with that load on his back, the hate, the anxiety, the expectations, the weight of the rings, the collapse was guaranteed. Not because he isn't talented, not because he's soft, but because you can't pile that much on a human being and expect them to survive at the elite level. He said it a year out. People think they're machines here to dance for us, but they're people. And the mental toll is real. He spelled it out for us. Being treated like content instead of a person was breaking him way before he got to Italy. Friday wasn't just nerves. It was the levee finally breaking. But watch out, he's making a move on February 21st, 2026. Like he teased, we've got a few days to see what he has up his sleeve. The vibe has changed. This isn't a meltdown. This isn't a kid drowning in sorrow. This is a fighter who just identified the enemy and is lacing up for round 2. The Olympic Gala hits on February 21st, 2026, and Ilia Malinin will be there. Not hiding, not apologizing, showing up. 3 days after the nightmare skate, while the web is still buzzing about his fall, he isn't running away. He's flipping the script. Not Ilia the failure, but Ilia the warrior, the guy who fought ghosts nobody saw and is ready to show us the truth. That's what February 21st, 2026 is about. A statement. A message to the doubters. I might be down, but I am far from done. And the internet. It flipped instantly. The same digital mob that pushed him to the edge came rushing back with a totally different energy. One fan put it perfectly. Ilia is already a hero to someone, and that legacy outweighs gold every time. Another said simply, Ilia is a champion. It was never just about securing that Olympic team gold. It was about how he captured the world's heart with his grit, resilience, and brutal honesty. Fans aren't just inspired by the athlete, they are rallying behind the human being. The very machine that chewed him up is now trying to rebuild him. That shift is a game changer. Ilia took the darkest moment of his career and flipped it into a movement way bigger than the rink. We are talking about toxic online hate that rots your mental game, fuels anxiety, and crushes even the most iron-willed competitors. Most pros stay silent because vulnerability looks like weakness, and in this business, weakness costs you endorsements and paychecks. But Ilia, he put his name on the line at 21 years old, fresh off the most devastating loss of his life. That takes more guts than any quad axel he has ever thrown down. And folks, this story is just getting started. The World Championships in Prague kick off next month, and he is coming to defend his crown. He has finally called out those invisible demons, which means he is facing them head-on. Next time the pressure mounts, he will be ready. The quad god didn't leave his talent back in Milan. He just stumbled against a silent killer, but now he knows its name, and that changes the whole war. Do you think pro sports are actually taking cyberbullying seriously? And do we see a legendary comeback from Ilia at World Sound? Off in the comments. Smash that subscribe button because February 21st is fast approaching and we are covering every move Ilia makes. We are nowhere near the finish line.